Commanders faithful, listen up! We are living through a historic moment and you cannot miss it. What do Donald Trump, a rookie QB with record-breaking numbers, and the possible return of our team to Washington, D.C. have in common? Everything! What's happening with this franchise isn't just a football turnaround, it's a revolution shaking up sports, politics, and even our identity as a team. You want to sit this one out? Bad idea! Stick around until the end, because what we're about to tell you could change everything. First, let me cut to the chase. Jayden Daniels isn't just winning games, he's making even Donald Trump himself talk about him. Yes, you heard right! In an unexpected meeting with Muriel Bowser, the now president-elect revealed that he's a fan of what's happening with the Commanders. Can you imagine what that means? A team backed by the White House? But this isn't just politics, this is our glorious return to DC. Is it time to leave Northwest Stadium behind? Because believe me, folks, not playing in our capital has been an open wound for this franchise. If they can't bring it back now, what does that mean for our history? But attention, because it's not all good news. Our defense is in imminent danger. The continuity of Bobby Wagner, the brain of our defensive wall, is hanging by a thread. And what is Adam Peters doing? He's already planning to bring in a replacement from Miami. But can anyone really fill those shoes? It's a leap into the void. If Wagner doesn't return, and the Commanders don't manage to fill that hole in 2025, we could be compromising not just the playoffs, but the entire Super Bowl project we've been building. Can you imagine losing that defensive solidity that defines us in the NFL? We can't let that happen! And if that's not enough, here's the bomb. Luther Burden III, the college gem of the 2025 draft, has practically been begging us on social media to pick him. This kid knows what Jayden Daniels is building and wants to be part of the Commanders phenomenon. But here's the problem. Advancing so far in the playoffs could push US away from his selection. Would you be willing to sacrifice a talent like this for a proven receiver in free agency? Because believe me, our passing game needs reinforcements. Terry McLaurin can't do it all alone. This isn't just a video, it's your manual to understand what the future of the Commanders is riding on right now. So, if you love this team like we do, smash that like button, subscribe now, and share it with all the true fans. Don't miss this moment because what's happening here will be history. We're building the future, and you have a front row seat. Friends, fans, and Commanders fanatics, let's get straight to the point because there's a lot to talk about. Jayden Daniels, Donald Trump, Muriel Bowser, the return to Washington, D.C. Does anyone else feel like we're seeing the rebirth of this franchise? Because, let me tell you something, we're witnessing history in real time, and if you're not excited, you're probably following the wrong team. First, Jayden Daniels. This man didn't come to this league to make friends. Oh no, I think this kid came to demolish records and change everything for the Commanders. 16 games as a starter, almost 70% of his passes completed, 3,530 yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions. Plus, we're not just talking about what he does with his arm. He's got 864 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. That's electrifying! Now I ask you, how long has it been since we, the Commanders fans, have had a QB who makes us dream not of the playoffs, but of the Super Bowl? Do you really think this kid isn't destined for greatness? Now, let's be clear, Jayden Daniels' success doesn't come in a vacuum. Josh Harris took over this organization and didn't waste any time. He brought in Adam Peters as general manager and Dan Quinn as head coach. And what did they do? They built a team that doesn't just compete, but scares people. This team isn't about slow rebuilding, no sir, this is a complete revolution! But let's not just talk about what's happening on the field because things are heating up off of it. I'm talking about this rumor of a possible return of the Commanders to Washington, D.C. Friends, how magnificent would it be to see our guys playing in the district? Let's be frank, FedEx Field has never been a symbol of pride for this franchise. It's been more of a headache than a home. Now, can you imagine the cultural, economic, and symbolic impact of bringing the team back to the nation's capital? Because I think this isn't just a matter of geography. We're talking about giving the team and the fans back their identity. And here's where it gets interesting. The meeting between Muriel Bowser and President-elect Donald Trump. What does this have to do with Jayden Daniels? Well, it seems Trump is already being vocal about this young phenomenon. While Mayor Bowser wasn't very communicative with the details of the conversation with Trump, she did mention that he's a big admirer of Jayden Daniels and even asked that he win multiple NFL honors. What president wouldn't want to associate themselves with the rebirth of a team as iconic as the Commanders? Of course, politics also plays its card here, and the NFL isn't just football, it's a big, very big business. But here's my question for all of you. If the return to Washington meant tearing down the current infrastructure and starting over, would you agree? Because I'm telling you something, this team is ready for something big, but the next step, the one of returning to DC, could redefine everything. Meanwhile, let's focus on what's coming. The closing game against the Dallas Cowboys isn't just a formality, it's a statement. The Commanders have already secured the playoffs, but believe me, a win over America's team could give them that final push toward the wild card. And I'll tell you this now, nobody wants to face these Commanders in the postseason. This team is hungry, it has talent, and it has Jayden Daniels. So, the Commanders are on fire, the city is backing them, and the rookie quarterback could be the next NFL icon. My question for you, faithful followers, do you think this team, led by Jayden Daniels, has what it takes not just to win in the playoffs, but to make it to the Super Bowl? Leave your comments below because this conversation, believe me, is just beginning. Now let's be clear, Bobby Wagner has been the heart and soul of this winning culture that the Commanders are building in 2024. But now comes an uncomfortable reality. What if he doesn't return? I'm telling you this, Bobby Wagner isn't just a big name in this league, he's a leader. This guy is an institution, someone who has transformed our defense from a disorganized mess into a disciplined and dangerous group that can compete with anyone. He was named a Pro Bowl alternate, and although some want to talk about his age, I only see a man who's still filling holes like he's 25 years old. So here's the question that nobody wants to ask. What happens if Adam Peters doesn't manage to sign Bobby Wagner again next year? Because, my friends, the NFL doesn't wait for anyone, and the unexpected is the daily bread in this league. And here come the rumors. Tyrel Dodson, a linebacker currently with the Miami Dolphins, has been mentioned as a risky backup plan if Wagner doesn't return. Now, I ask you, how do you feel when you hear that? Do you really think someone like Dodson can fill Wagner's shoes? I don't think so. Let's be realistic. Although Dodson has impressive moments, like that 88.4 coverage grade with the Buffalo Bills in 2023, we're talking about a player with only 25 starts in 5 seasons. This isn't a replacement, this is pure risk. I understand the logic behind this. Even if we manage another contract with Wagner, we need more depth at the linebacker position. Frankie Louvu has proven to be a disruptive machine in pass rush on third downs, but he's not the answer for the running game or coverage on every play. Sure, names like Jordan McGee or Dominique Hampton could develop, but are we really in a position to wait? I'm telling you, I don't think so. This team is knocking on the door to not only be playoff contenders, but to establish themselves as serious Super Bowl candidates. Patience is no longer in our vocabulary. Let's talk clearly. If we lose Wagner, Dodson is below expectation. He can offer some useful things, and don't get me wrong, I respect his coverage ability, but when you compare what he offers with what Wagner brings, it's like trying to trade a Ferrari for a compact car. This move would be about adjusting the pieces, not about strengthening the defensive wall that Wagner built here. Now, let me tell you something I've been thinking about a lot. If the time comes and Wagner decides not to return or the negotiations fall apart, why not look in the draft for the linebacker of the future? Why not use our current position as an attractive team to attract a young and explosive player, someone who can learn from the master himself? Because let's be honest, Bobby Wagner isn't going to play forever, but this team is building something to last a decade. We need to think beyond the here and now. Oh, but here's the twist. I don't think it's impossible to keep Wagner. Adam Peters has proven to be a master at building this team from the front office. I trust that he knows what Wagner means to the defense and that he'll do what's necessary to keep him. But the question remains, what if it doesn't happen? Are we ready to face that kind of loss? So here's my challenge for you, the true fans. If Bobby Wagner doesn't return in 2025, who should be the next man in charge at the heart of this defense? Do you trust a name like Dodson, someone with potential but little proven? Or do you prefer to invest big, maybe in the draft or in someone with more credentials? Leave me your opinions, because I'm sure of one thing. This defense is one signing or one loss away from being the key factor in taking the Commanders to the Super Bowl. Let me know what you think, and as always, we keep building this community together. Okay, now it turns out that one of the most coveted gems of the 2025 draft, Luther Burden III, is basically shouting on social media that he wants to be part of this winning wave we're building in Washington. And you know what? I can't blame him. Because, think about it, who wouldn't want to play with Jayden Daniels and a team that's on fire like a forest in a dry season? First, let's talk about Daniels. This kid isn't just a quarterback. He's an emerging star, one of those generational talents that transforms a franchise from its foundations. Look at what he's done in his rookie season. He took the Commanders to the playoffs and is legitimately being considered for awards like Rookie of the Year, even MVP. And now what happens? That other players, college prospects, and even free agents are seeing the Commanders as the place they want to be. And that, my friends, isn't just thanks to Daniels. It's a whole cultural change led by Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, and yes, an owner like Josh Harris, who's committed to giving us a team that competes at the highest level. Now, Luther Burden III. This wide receiver from Missouri isn't being subtle at all. On 2 different occasions, he's commented on posts about Daniels, making it clear that he would be delighted, no, thrilled to join this team. And I ask you, who can blame him? This kid sees Daniels connecting with Terry McLaurin, Olamide Zaccheaus, and company, and he's probably imagining what it would be like to run perfect routes and catch surgical passes from our rookie star. Now, let's be frank. Burden has had a quiet year, relatively speaking, during his last season in Missouri, but don't be fooled, this guy has pure talent. He's explosive after the catch, has sure hands, and an athletic ability that, while it still needs polishing, makes him a deadly weapon in the passing game. According to analysts, his credentials place him as a projected pick in the middle or end of the first round. But here's the question, friends. How far will the Commanders go in the playoffs? The further we advance, the further our draft pick will fall, and that could complicate any chance of getting Burden. Is it a risky move to consider Burden? Not at all. This team needs depth in the receiving core. Terry McLaurin is our key man, but he can't carry everything. Olamide Zaccheaus and Noah Brown have shown value in crucial moments, but both are about to end their contracts. Luke McCaffrey has the potential, but he's a long-term project. We need reinforcements now, and Burden could be that prospect who not only complements our veterans, but also elevates the passing attack to another level. On the other hand, let's not forget that we also have a lot of space under the salary cap. What does that mean? That Adam Peters could go after a proven receiver in free agency. But here's where I tell you, let's not underestimate the draft. Burden could be a gift from heaven if we somehow manage to select him, especially while we're working with the golden clock of Daniels under his rookie contract. Oh, but here's the gem of the matter. This isn't just the story of a college receiver trying to get the attention of the Commanders. It's a reflection of how this franchise has completely changed its narrative. Before, we were the team that players avoided. Now we're the team that everyone wants to join. Jayden Daniels and the culture implanted by Dan Quinn have made Washington exciting again, and believe me, there's no better time to be a fan of this team. So, I'll leave it to you. Is Luther Burden III the piece we need to take our passing game to the next level? Should the Commanders aggressively seek to select him in the draft, or would they prefer that Adam Peters spend that salary cap space on a proven receiver in the league? I already have my answer, but I want to know yours. Leave your comments because, as always, this conversation is just the Washington Commanders are in the spotlight, and for good reason. So let's talk, community. Do you think Daniels has what it takes to lead the team to a Super Bowl? Is this the beginning of a new golden era for the franchise? And about our defense, we know that Bobby Wagner has been a key piece, but his future is uncertain. You tell me, do we bet on developing a young guy like Dodson from within, or do you think we should look outside and bring in an accomplished leader to the center of our defense? This decision could change everything. Finally, we can't ignore the possibility of adding Luther Burden III, a receiver whose talent could become a lethal weapon for our offense. Is he the piece we need to dominate opposing secondaries and build a dynasty, or would you prefer to invest in an already established receiver? The future is at stake, and your opinion counts. If this kind of passionate debate is what makes you vibrate as a fan, I invite you to join our family. Subscribe to the channel where every video is a strategic meeting for the fans and the perfect place to share ideas, emotions, and have a great time. Your voice matters here because together we are stronger. And remember, hail to the Redskins!